The grand ballroom shimmered that night with golden chandeliers, polished marble floors, and the soft hum of violins. The wealthiest families of the city stood proudly in their finest gowns and tuxedos, their laughter echoing like a private symphony of privilege. At the far edge of the room, invisible to most, stood Samuel, the janitor. He had been working at the elite country club for over a decade, always silent, always in the shadows. His hands bore the scars of labor, his back slightly bent from years of sweeping, scrubbing, and carrying things no one else wanted to touch. To the rich, he was no more than part of the furniture. To Samuel, however, the job was survival. That evening was different. The annual Founders Gala was not just any party, it was the night when scholarships were announced for deserving children. Samuel stood quietly, broom in hand, not for the glory of the event, but because his daughter, Anna, had earned an invitation. Anna was only 12, but brilliant. She had spent hours in the public library, teaching herself things far beyond her grade level. Samuel always told her, books will open doors money can't. He had dreamed of her earning one of those scholarships, a chance to study among the elite. But there was one problem, her father's identity. As Anna entered the hall in her modest dress, borrowed from a neighbor and carefully stitched by Samuel, heads turned. Not because of her grace, but because of who she was. "Isn't that the janitor's girl?" one woman whispered behind her fan. "How did she even get invited here?" Another man scoffed. "It's shameful. This is a place for legacies, not servants' children." Anna heard the murmurs but held her head high. Samuel, sweeping quietly in the back, clenched the handle of his broom. His heart ached, but he stayed silent. He had endured their disdain for years, he knew what they thought of him. Halfway through the evening, as the club's president took the stage, the murmurs grew louder. A wealthy patron, Mrs. Aldridge, raised her glass and said just loud enough for others to hear, "Why is the janitor even here? He soils the very air of this ballroom. Surely the board can find someone more fitting." Laughter rippled among the elites. Samuel lowered his eyes, wishing the floor would swallow him whole. But before he could retreat, Anna stepped forward. She looked straight at Mrs. Aldridge, her small frame steady, her voice trembling but clear. "My father may be the janitor," she said, "but he's also the reason you all stand in a ballroom that shines. He cleans the floors you dance on, the glasses you drink from, the bathrooms you whisper in. You may not see him, but without him, none of this would exist." The room froze. Forks paused in midair. Even the violinist's bow stopped on the string. "And one more thing," Anna added, her voice now stronger. "He may sweep floors for a living, but he raised me with more honor, dignity, and love than all your wealth could ever buy." For a long moment, no one spoke. Mrs. Aldridge's smirk faded. The laughter died. The ballroom, once filled with prideful chatter, stood in stunned silence. Samuel's eyes brimmed with tears he had held back for years. In that instant, he wasn't invisible. He wasn't just the janitor. He was a father who had given everything for his daughter, and she had seen him. Slowly, one man began to clap. Then another. Within seconds, the entire ballroom erupted in applause. Not the polite applause reserved for charity announcements, but the genuine sound of respect. Samuel bowed his head, overcome. He had never wanted their approval. But hearing the thunder of hands brought a weight off his shoulders he didn't realize he still carried. When the applause settled, the club president returned to the microphone. His voice shook slightly as he said, "Tonight, we recognize not just wealth or status, but true merit. And so, it gives me great honor to announce that this year's scholarship goes to Anna, the daughter of Samuel." Tears rolled down Anna's cheeks as she turned to hug her father. "We did it, Papa," she whispered. Samuel's arms wrapped around her tightly. "No, sweetheart, you did it. You proved that who we are is not measured by what we clean, but by how we live." Years later, Anna would graduate with honors, her name remembered not as the janitor's daughter, but as the girl who stood up in a ballroom and silenced prejudice with truth. And Samuel, he remained a janitor for a time, but he was never looked at the same way again. People greeted him with respect, not because he demanded it, but because his daughter had revealed what they had all refused to see. Behind the uniform was a man of dignity.